Hey, what is up, geeks and geekettes? It's another episode of the Countdown City Geekcast, and this is going to be an interesting one. This is going to be sort of a recap of our Ghostbuster adventures, as well as a look ahead onto some major events that we want you to be aware of. Some good deeds that we're actually a part of, and spreading the word about some campaigns that we're actually helping out with. So, without further ado, my name is Steady. With me on this episode is the one and only Matty B. Good on, Matt.
Hey, how are you, Ted? Thanks for having me once again. You're such a gracious host. You're
Absolutely. Listen, first question and first topic. Have you come down from your weekend Ernie Hudson high? Have you come back down to earth from what feels like a dream, right? It feels like we just got everything we wanted in the sense that like it was fun, it was exciting. We got, one-on-one time with an original Ghostbuster who happens to be just like the best of people out there, and we made some memories that we probably won't ever forget.
I would agree. And big thanks to you for a lot of the things. I mean, Countdown City Geekcast. I mean, we were like VIPs in there thanks to you guys. The Ghostbusters got treated very well from the staff at Evo,
Yeah.
all the way down to every patron that came in. Were even if they weren't coming to see Afterlife, I bet we converted people to maybe even switch ticket. Maybe they had another idea in mind, and at that kiosk, I bet we got some Afterlife switches there. But you did an incredible job, and we're professional. And I'm done kissing your ass now. The Ernie Hudson portion, um, it was you say, am I back down from the high? I feel like Ernie Hudson was the ground that I needed. He was a very grounded person, and
Sure.
he interacted in a way that wasn't. I mean, we've all been to Comic Cons, right? Anyone watching this, if you're watching Countdown to Geekcast, you've been to a Comic Con. Ted, I'm sure you've been to your fair share, and we've interacted with characters like this.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can feel very hurried along. You can feel as if maybe you're an annoyance. It kind of sours that moment for you a little bit. You get what you want and you take it away, and you're happy with that. But it's very rare that a person like Ernie Hudson walks in and is so engaging, um, prepared for what he's doing, but not in a false way. Just being a professional. He didn't hurry me along. I'm going to get this. Hold on.
Please do. Please do.
Let me get this. He signed this beautiful picture,
The gorgeous picture.
and he said that he wanted to leave space here to make sure that I could get the other two.
Yes.
Um, and he actually made a little bit of a funny joke, saying he didn't think Harold would mind if he got a little on his side. Um, but I love the fact that oh, I mean, obviously having the Ghostbusters walk you out into the Q&As, which is what Ernie had requested. I thought that was really cool. But, I wasn't expecting him to be like, "Hey, these groups are all over the world. They care a lot. I appreciate them." And then took time with each individual group. We had what? Four groups.
Four groups around the state. What, maybe 10, 12 people tops?
Yeah. And it got hard to tell at one point because so many people were coming in a Ghostbusters gear just to see the movie. But yeah, I think about 12. But he took time with each group to let them highlight the charities. And that's what we do this for. I mean, we don't get dressed up in these outfits just to,
Just to look cool.
well, I mean, it does look
It
cool.
does
I
look
mean, it
cool.
really does look cool. But the reason why we take time out of our day is to help whatever cause it might be. I think that the kids were a big part for me, and I always get called a politician for saying things like that, but it really is. We had a comment on the page of the mom, who was like, that Ghostbuster let my son try on the proton pack, and it was his,
Yeah.
it lit him up, and that was me. And so I was like, yes, that's what it's all about.
You're not kidding. You're right on the money, nail on the head, all that stuff. It was in some weird ways, the interactions with families is
Hmm.
is like borderline spiritual. And
I would
I
say
know
so. I would agree.
that sounds kind of weird to say, but you're all overly excited about expressing your feelings and your love for a franchise, a property, a movie franchise, and you don't love this franchise just half-assed. Like if you're a fan, if you're an
Yeah.
absolute fan of
It's
Ghostbusters,
all.
you're all in.
Yeah.
You're traveling to this movie theater that's 30, 45 miles outside of any major town to go see Ernie Hudson because you are a major fan. I mean, I most enjoyed there's two things I most enjoyed. I most enjoyed watching the large groups of families that came out. I There was one family I took a photo of, had like 10 family members all together, all dressed up.
And
Like,
early in the day, that was before we even got there, wasn't it?
yeah, and the father of this large family, not all the kids were his. I think he had a brother that was there too. But the father that was there, you could see the exuberance on his face. Like
Hmm.
he had enough energy for the whole family, but
Yeah.
they were all feeding off of him, and he was um excited about every new step. Like, let's go over here, take a photo with the ecto, and let's go over here and let's go see Ernie, and let's go over here and let's go get our seats for the Q&A. Like, just seeing that pure joy on a grown man's face with and sharing that
Yeah.
and sharing that with a large number of his family. It's moving. And
It is.
that was like the one thing, was seeing the large families that would come out and seeing absolutely how ecstatic they were. The second thing that I appreciated and I loved the most was you guys.
Oh.
I this is gonna sound this might come off weird, but I think I told Rob, I was like, part of me is really excited to be here, and the other part of me is like, I'm worried about the next thing I have to say, or the next thing I'm not supposed to forget, because I'm supposed to thank the sponsors. I'm supposed to, do things a certain way. And I'm half of me is worried about what Ernie's feeling. I don't want that man to be bored. I don't want that
Yeah.
man. I don't want that man to get offended. I don't want him to go through a negative thought in his head throughout these QA sessions. So I'm doing a lot of worrying. I'm trying to make sure the conversations are energetic. I'm trying to make sure, like, his experience is going well. If he has a great time, I don't care what I go through. That's like part of it. If he's having a great time, the 200 people in the theater are going to notice and they're going to have a great time. You know what it is? I'm a musician on the side. Um,
What else can you do on the side? You're like a buffet. It's like it's.
I'm a I'm a musician. I haven't played in a while because of COVID, so very very little in the last 2 years. But I it took me a long time to kind of watching bands and playing myself to understand, like, doesn't matter how you sound, if you on stage as a musician, if you aren't having fun doing what you're doing, nobody watching you is going to be having fun watching you.
Yeah.
So part of it is, if I help make sure that Ernie's having a great time on stage, answering these questions, laughing, smiling. Everybody in the audience is going to feel that. And so, my whole point was that the other part of my experience that I really enjoyed was you guys having a great time, and me. It was a lot less about me trying to have a great time and just to make sure like Ernie's good, the Ghostbuster teams are good, the audience is good, and it's a responsibility that I'm okay with because
Yeah.
I was asked to do a job, and I went in knowing like this isn't just going to be all fun and
Yeah.
games. I can't go up there and half-ass it or like not prepare or not know what I'm going to say next, not know what question I'm going to ask next. If you pause too long in a Q&A session, that's some awkwardness that happens like
No, I
right
agree.
away.
And kudos to you because um, you're dealing with handlers now. You're not dealing with you're not setting up a booth at a Comic Con where you just have to deal with the person who tells you what area you have and
Yeah.
how far you can go out or little parameters that other folks have to deal with. You are dealing with handlers. Ernie is a celebrity in his own right, and he has his own demands, his time frames, what he's willing to do, what he's not willing to do. Managing all of that is a lot. I could see some pressure released from you when we got there, at least because you didn't feel the need to entertain as much. So with the Ghostbusters there, it's just Ted and his Blazer. um, thanks for coming out, but having us there, I think you didn't feel the need to juggle. And
No,
so you could just focus on what you needed to do. And we'll always back you up on that because, I mean, you did an incredible job. I got an autograph, a selfie free. That's $100 value.
it
It
is.
is. It's straight up
It was.
$100.
It was.
Um, we all got that for free, and but again, it doesn't matter anything physical that I took from there. I'm on the same plane as you. This fandom is very specific,
Yeah.
and the people that were there, I took pictures with kids whose dads were clearly jock dads. They wanted sports kids, but his kid's really into Ghostbusters. He's in a full flight suit, Walmart's trap, the blow up proton pack, the whole thing, and his dad doesn't get it. But we started. He had his official name tag. It was Sands. Was his name? I'm not doxing anyone, but
No, no, no.
Sands. You know,
Sands.
um, so Sands. All the Ghostbusters started just calling him by his last name, and every time we had to take pictures when he was over there, it was Sands over here. We need to take a picture, like he's on the team. And his dad started to see those sport jock things that he likes where it's like it's a team. We're
It
here
is.
to accomplish a goal. We're
Yep.
here to do something, and it's clearly putting smiles on people's faces. The same as a touchdown, whatever it might be. If your kid isn't into sports, get them into one of these groups like this. Um, that would be my biggest thing, and something that obviously I'm going to do as I raise kids. I know it's going to be something that you're going to do. Let them do whatever they want, but there's teams, there's people to help them. There's the same structure that you would get from a sports type team. You could get from a group like the San Antonio Ghostbusters or probably most Ghostbuster groups around that aren't the gatekeeper types that you have to have hero packs and everything has to be specific. But for the
We'll,
most
we'll,
part,
we'll get there one day.
yeah, I mean, but who cares?
I
99% of people have no clue what a spirit pack is. They have no clue what a one by one pack is.
You're
They
right.
just know
You're right.
that their kid is happy.
Dude,
And that's the only thing that matters. Getting caught up in all that other stuff, whatever. I'll take time out of my Saturday to go make a kid smile any day of the week.
can I tell you that that same teenage boy,
Sands?
Sans,
Yeah.
he he
Sands is
left,
on the team at this point.
I mean, he left an impression on me,
Yeah.
and I I can't imagine how incredible it must feel to, be in your own
Recognized.
costume as he's probably 11, 12, 13. He's not 13, he's probably 11 or
Yeah.
12
He was
probably.
a big 12-year-old, I think. And he was a big 12-year-old. He was
Yeah,
tall.
and I can't imagine how it feels to just be in your costume going to see a Ghostbuster. You think like maybe that's all this is gonna be, or you go check out a movie, and yet you have a whole crew of Ghostbuster fans from around the state, pulling you in different directions to come and help make somebody else's day special. Like he was being asked to
Mhm.
go and celebrate Ghostbusters with strangers and get in their photos and put smile on other kids' faces. Like that's got to be massive. You got to feel like a superhero. I mean,
He left that
Ghostbusters.
theater. I get and we got and not as much response because we have to get better as Ghostbusters, and this probably works in every franchise. We have to get better at saying tag back to the page when we take pictures with people, not self-serving.
Mm,
But in the interest that we can see the impact we make on the community and take those recommendations, those good experiences to get other organizations involved with what we're doing. So if you can take these comments and pictures or whatever it might be and take them to other organizations who have a large impact on charity or community, it's easier to sell yourself into it. And so I loved the response that we got, and I loved the response that they got from us. It was sick when they showed up in their outfits and they get to come over with the Ghostbusters, whatever that means to a kid, right? I mean, but they're like, I'm legit. They're taking a picture in front of an Ecto One. At one point, I'm throwing the trap open, and we took a picture. Somebody showed up cosplay Grinch,
yeah.
and so I want this picture still, and I hope Brian sends it to me because we have like wands out, like it looks like we're trapping the Grinch. And I'd love to throw the proton streams on that and throw a nice little cone of light on the top. It was an incredible event.
It was an incredible event. If the whole event was just us taking photos, chatting with fans of Ghostbusters like all weekend, like it's still a success.
Yeah, and you saw I was going to like I was still taking pictures with people well after
Yeah. You
that part.
you didn't want to leave. You were like, I'm good. Let's keep going.
Dude, let's. I mean, I gotta make back this $59 true spec suit.
I mean, the next time the next similar event that gets thrown put together like that, we're gonna have to be there every day.
I think so too. And you can get enough interaction. It's tough, obviously, but there's always a chance to get three or four out.
Now,
Um, but I loved it. I thought it was great. And a big thank you to Countdown City Geekcast and especially you, Steady. Professionalism all the way through. We were VIPs in there. I mean, no one had to pay for a drink. You know, you get thirsty, you get tired, you get worried about, how long can I hold this thing? So, free sodas, water, all that. The
yeah.
autograph picture.
Yep.
Um, and everything else, I appreciate it. I thought you guys did an awesome job, and I'll do anything with you guys again.
I yeah, I absolutely agree. I am so thrilled you guys had a great time, and I was, like you mentioned, you can take a lot of physical things away from a convention. You can buy things, you can get things autographed, but whenever I go to something like this, I look for the moments that you can't replicate. I look for the experiences that you've only gone through once in your lifetime. So in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna make sure and I make this special for these guys. I'm gonna make sure when we're doing questions with Ernie, they're sitting front row
Mhm.
and leading him out. Partially, I'm not gonna say all my idea, but it was partially my idea to make sure you guys walked him out because it's like, soldiers leading their general into battle. And I know it's silly to say
I
something like
think
that,
he
but
gets that too. I think
yeah,
he gets
absolutely.
that,
Absolutely.
and I think he likes it. The awkward part. So now that we're done praising, can I go into some things that I noticed in my first time meeting Ernie?
Yeah. Ooh, okay. Well, the last one I'll say is the last moment I needed to make sure you guys had was dancing to the song
Sweet Blue.
in front of Ernie.
And
whether
I'm a good dancer. I'll dance
whether
right now. I'm a good dancer.
whether it looked good or whether it looked bad, like how many other fans can say I did the Ghostbusters shuffle in front of a Ghostbuster? Like not many people can say that. A
No.
million people can say they have a Ghostbuster autograph. There's probably
Also,
a handful that
you're
can say they danced in front of a Ghostbuster.
I mean, we're in a rare group there. We're in the top percentile of
Absolutely.
experiences with original Ghostbusters off that alone. Your press on the video game leak, I loved. I loved it when you were going in and he started to give a little bit and then he started to realize that, oh, maybe I should shut up. But and you're the most polite person I've ever met. But in that moment, your brain clicked. You put the cue cards to the side, which were questions from the crowd. You
Right.
put that to the side, and you went straight into this video game. Anything you could leak for us?
I took a shot. I took a shot.
You have to.
Have to.
You have to. I
And
loved it. I thought it was great, and everybody in the with the Ghostbusters because we all watch this nerdy shit like everybody watching this does,
all you
and
guys leap forward.
we were like, that was great.
all
It's
you
like when you hit
guys
a combo in Mortal Kombat. You just had to zone in and go for it. I loved it. I thought it was
for,
dope.
for anybody who obviously wasn't there, videos are going to come out very soon. I promise. I keep saying that, but like things keep coming up. We had a toy drive that we launched today, so I had no time to work on the videos. But let me just paint this picture. So we have our 10 Ghostbusters from around the state. People that drove 3 4 hours to get here to be at this event.
A
Walk,
theater half full of
yeah,
people.
yeah, and I mean, still half full. A few hundred
No,
people.
no, but half
Half full.
full isn't a bad thing. These are people who had to pay to be there. We're still talking a very significant amount of people who paid
Absolutely.
money to hear what this guy was saying.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we have the teams walk Ernie out, and then they stand guard while he's talking you guys up, and that was again fantastic. Then you guys all sit in the front row, which is part of my plan to make sure that you guys have a front row seat to the show. And then out of the corner of my eye, as soon as I started talking about a video game, some of you guys knew, I think, that I had scooped or broken the story like days earlier,
Yeah.
but I wanted to see what else he would tell us. And so it was a first time for some of you guys sitting down. And so out of the corner of my eye, I can see you guys lean forward, like I could hear like a gasp or two, like
Yeah.
behind me, and I'm just like, oh, they're really, soaking this up right now. This is awesome.
In live action. This is like so these theater chairs have like a tray that comes over so you can sit your things on. So a lot of us had those tucked in just so we could rest our arms or whatever. I
Yep.
mean, carrying a proton pack it wears on you. So when Steady entered this question, all of us are like we were like, what? Tell us more.
So
But
cool.
he was really cool, and
Yeah.
but some things I did notice about the Ernie interaction.
Sure.
His relationship with Ghostbusters is very interesting, and not for no
Complicated.
reason. Everybody
Yeah.
knows that in the fandom, and that's part of the reason in the fandom why he might be the most beloved character that we have because we always wanted more Winston. I don't know one Ghostbuster who's like happy that he was off of the original Ghostbusters
That's true.
poster. I Ernie is such a beloved character in the fandom, even more than Bill and Dan. Sometimes it's just like we, we didn't get enough from him, so we kind of want more of him, right?
Absolutely.
Um, and it's just interesting to hear him talk about that, and and noticing how an actor is. um he wasn't prepared for what he was being asked. Not that he lacked preparation, not that he was ignoring anything, but he was literally giving us off the cuff reactions to the questions, responses to the questions. He wasn't, it never seemed as if this was staged in any way. It was just a guy who was humble and happy to be there.
Oh,
What was that?
that was weird. I might have had a internet issue at the time. All right,
So where did you leave off?
you were about to talk regarding. It's probably just the last 25 seconds, maybe.
That's hilarious because I went on a
I bet it
rant.
was. I bet it's beautiful. I bet it was beautiful. Actually, your video stream. How's it look for you? Because right now yours is frozen to my site.
You're clear. I'm clear on my side.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do me a favor and disable your camera on the bottom, and then redo it. Hmm. Interesting. Um, Still frozen on my end. I don't know why. You want to see if actually you mind dropping out and then clicking the link again real quick?
Yeah, whatever.
Just give it a yeah. We'll see if that kind of works out. In the meantime, yeah, we're talking about Ernie Hudson, who is just the nicest, most humblest of individuals. And Matt was talking about the fandom knowing. There you go. Looks like you're all set now. Sweet.
Well, we all know the technical difficulties
Absolutely.
that can
Luckily, we
arise.
didn't have we didn't have too many over the weekend. That was besides the ghost light. I'm gonna call it the ghost light
Yeah.
in our interview in our Texas group interview.
Yeah,
But
but
you were talking about
what yeah, what I was saying about Ernie, um he wasn't prepared, and that might come off the wrong way, but it's not meant to come off the wrong way. What I mean is, he didn't stage an answer. He didn't have
no.
here's the questions you can ask me. Here's what I'm gonna answer. He came in just sort of, hey, I'm
Open.
here, yeah, and
I'm
he
an
was
open book.
just like,
Yeah.
and for him to kind of dive in on some of his relationship with the franchise, he obviously appreciates it. He knows he's going to get asked difficult questions about it, which I think is why he might like to introduce the Ghostbusters and do these sort of things, because he wants to show that he cares about the franchise, but he was dicked over.
Yeah.
Like, pay Ernie is the hashtag moving forward. Make sure Ernie's paid and make sure
Hey,
he's a part of this franchise moving forward, because Dan Aykroyd is losing it a little bit, and so is Bill. They don't want to do this stuff anymore. Ernie is our hope. He's our Luke Skywalker return at the end of the Mandalorian. He's going to be the one who really just energizes the franchise. He has the energy to do it. He has the want to do it. He made that clear, but he also made clear some grievances, and I like to get that insight from him and what he was talking about, and how he was proposed things and how things turned out.
it breaks your heart a little bit to hear somebody who you look up to still share those grievances 37 years later, like 37, 38. They filmed it 38 years ago. They filmed it in 83. So for someone to still have like their feelings hurt a little bit
Hmm.
in a way, like it breaks your heart as a fan. And
That's why it was kind of humbling. It was like sitting
Yeah.
in front of him, and like all of us are sitting and looking at him like, we love you. We love you. Like we do. We don't know you. We don't know who you are at home. I don't know what you do. You're Winston Zeddemore, and I love you. And to have him feel and expressing emotion in such a clear way, it I wouldn't say it was upsetting. It wasn't
No.
a
No.
downward thing. It was more
No.
so like, let's champion this guy. And
Absolutely.
so I made that clear to him when we took our picture at the end. And I said, if we're doing a franchise, it's hashtag pay Ernie. You're not getting chipped out of this one. And when he left, he walked by. And I'm never washing this jumpsuit.
Take it to the dry cleaner and just tell him, don't touch this shoulder.
Don't touch that shoulder.
Leave the
The
shoulder
shoulder
alone.
was touched by, and he was like, and he kept remembering me even from early on. And I
Yeah.
noticed that wasn't a me thing. He had done that with everybody else too. He remembered what he talked about with people. He had remembered the people that he spoke to throughout the evening. Awesome experience. Again, I'm back on talking about how awesome it was. You told me to come down from the high, and I'm climbing the mountain again.
I don't think it's not it would be unfair to stop coming down from it. I think like you can stretch it out as long as you seem fit. There's there's actually I've luckily in my area of media or just being so involved with different conventions and fandoms. I've been lucky enough to do this a few times, and I've gone to San Diego Comic Con 4 years, and so I've had great experiences there too, meeting celebrities, being a part of panels, not like this, but in different ways. Very few times I've had a similar experience as we all did with Ernie, meaning an individual who takes the time to have quality conversations with you as a fan, or just me being sort of the master of ceremonies for all 4 days. I actually get to see the whole picture. And let me tell you, by day 3, I'm exhausted. I'm tired. And
Mhm.
I'm only working half the time that Ernie is. I mean, let's be honest, to shake people's hands or to talk with people like
It's
oh,
taxing.
it is. It's
Mhm.
exhausting. I know it is. I mean, you meeting people, taking photos. I mean, it's not to say that it's bad. It just means that like it takes energy to be that excited, and so after a few 4 or 5 hours, like yeah, it drains you a little bit. Ernie
It was
did it.
exhausting.
Ernie did it for 4 days, at least 7 hours a day, and he
Yeah.
didn't get like 2 3 hour breaks. He got like a half hour for lunch, maybe a half hour for dinner, 10 minutes for a bathroom break. Like he didn't. He went committed to
Hmm.
meeting and talking with fans, and it's very few times I've seen somebody go that hard um, in an event. 4 days though, I haven't seen that in a while. I've not seen that. 4 days, one person.
Usually it's one in, one out. They do a con, and then they're there for like 2 hours. They do a panel, and then they do a signing for like 2 hours
You're
that the
right.
line is ridiculous
You're right.
for, and they're out.
Yeah, yeah. No, maybe they do press an hour
Yeah.
before or an hour after, but you're right. That's it. It's like
Mm.
you're in San Diego for 4 hours, 1 hour press, 1 hour autographs, 1 hour panel, and then you're back on a plane going to wherever
The
you're
next one.
from,
Yeah.
and that's it. Sure, you're not wrong. So my whole point was that like by day 3, I was tired. I was exhausted.
I
Ernie
bet you look tired.
Ernie seemed like he wasn't phased at all, man. And whether it's his health or whether it's just him stepping up to the plate and like you know just being what he wants to be, which is a great um, ambassador for the fandom for the franchise. I think that's all it is. Him just you know wanting to be what I think he thinks the fans expect of him to be charming,
Well,
to be kind, to be humble and generous all at the same time.
in a big
He's
way, he
he's the best.
carries that weight on his own shoulders. Dan obviously is accessible, and he's obviously the heart of the Ghostbusters. I mean, it's his story that got us here.
Sure.
But I would say Ernie, by far, is carrying that load for the franchise. Bill Murray's not doing Comic Cons. He doesn't want anything to do with the Ghostbusters. He's made that clear for years. Um, so we have Dan, but he does a lot of Blues Brothers stuff. He has his what is
Vodka.
it, Crystal Head Vodka, and that keeps him pretty busy. Ernie's the one who keeps it going, and Ernie's the one who has the most grievances. Ernie is literally like the friend that puts up with the friend that neglects them and treats them like crap, but he's still like, "Hey, I'm your best pal," and still shows up with a smile on. He is that for our franchise, and
He's a
I
guy
will
that
say,
he's a friend that doesn't give up on you. He's gonna keep
yeah,
being the good friend. He's not gonna give up.
regardless of how he feels about it, that's even cooler.
Yeah.
But
Even
I
though
will
it
say
hurts him.
about I would say about you, in front of the camera, doing your job, you never showed fatigue. There was a moment, I think it was probably about 8:45 that evening, 45 minutes after, and I was still taking pictures with some folks, and you were waiting for your wife and kid to get there, and at one point, you just put both of your hands on my shoulders for a second and go.
That was
you
the
just
first
you just exhaled.
that was the first deep exhale all weekend.
I was like, bless this guy's heart, man. You've been working your ass off.
Yeah. You know, we keep talking about, the early grievances and stuff. You guys saw two panels, right? And
Mhm.
you got that out of two panels,
Yeah.
right? I saw 10. I saw 10. And so
They were all
I
different. At least the two I saw were completely different
I
because it was
mean,
fan questions, right?
you're you're not wrong, but,
Mm.
what you got out of those 2,
Oh,
the
yeah.
things that he's excited about, the things that have still hurt him that he still kinda carries
Hmm.
on his sleeve and all that, like, I got that too. I got that from the first one, and
Hmm.
yet we had to go through that. And so in a way, I'm almost trying to avoid those things. I don't want him to keep why would I want why would I want to see him,
Yeah.
you know, go through those
But
feelings and
but
emotions
it's
over and
also
over.
the opposite of your job as you see it as the host. So
Sure.
we're not on the view. We're not trying to say something to somebody to get a spicy reaction.
No.
So that's not the goal. That's
There's
not your job.
hell
So
no.
it is for some hosts on some
Sure.
shows. With what
You're
you're
right.
doing, no. Um,
I so
and
I can I tell you I was actively trying to avoid those things, like
you told me before,
day
and
2 through
I
4.
watched you in real time attempting to avoid a spicy topic that he just
He keeps going back,
went headfirst into,
and
which
I'm
lets you
like,
know he
"Man."
really cares about that.
He really does, and, I don't know if it says a lot to me if he's I don't think it's like a cry for help or anything, but it really bothers him if he's willing to talk about things that we aren't asking him.
Hmm.
And it's not like they were out of left field, like they weren't relevant. They were
Yeah.
relevant to a certain extent, but nobody's asking him like, "Hey, why weren't you in Ghostbusters 2 in the court scene?" Nobody asked those questions.
Hmm.
But the fact that those emotions and he was expressing those things still, even though we're not asking those questions, it means something. And no matter what though, like I think he is so humble. I more than one time, more than like 5 times this weekend, heard him say things like, "I don't think I'm famous. I don't think I'm." He says he's successful, but not in the way that you would expect that comes with like money or
Mhm.
fame. He considers being successful like I get to act, and that's like the bottom line.
Yeah,
But he
there's always
doesn't.
a job that I can do.
Yeah, but he doesn't think he's famous. He doesn't think he's like this great, actor. He doesn't think that he's gotten any major roles. Um, maybe besides Ghostbusters, but those
But that wasn't a
issues
major role. They wrote him
and
out of it.
those issues that he has though with those roles and with those movies, those are impact how big those how valued how he values those roles. So all I'm trying to say is like he's such a humble guy and he's still not going to ask for the spotlight going forward, but I hope he gets it. I hope the things that they're setting up in the last movie at the end of the film in the credits, I hope they double down and we get to see badass ex-military hero Winston Zeddemore. That still hasn't happened, and that's still very possible. And
That's
he's gonna own when that happens. He's gonna own that role when it happens.
Yeah, and they can't age him out of it either. We're not going to accept that as a fandom, and I don't think that we
Hell
should,
no.
because I honestly believe that there was some um, foul play on behalf of Columbia Pictures with his character, and I don't think he deserves that. I don't think that's what the fandom wanted. We didn't have a badass Ghostbuster. We didn't have. I mean, they should have let Ernie. We had the nerd. We had the loudmouth. We had the sort of aloof but dedicated guy. We
Yeah.
needed a badass on the team, and that's what Winston was supposed to be. He was supposed to be the one who gave him the clout enough to talk shit. That's what we wanted, and I hope that they bring that back. I love that scene at the end of Afterlife with him and Janine. I was a sex appeal. The way he's just talking confident, smooth. I'd love him moving forward as the head of our franchise. To hell with Bill Murray, in my opinion. I know that's spicy, but it's. I need someone who cares about moving the franchise forward, who doesn't want to be killed in the next movie. And I think Ernie is the only guy that we got that can keep it going.
I hope that Dan and Bill are still involved because we both know Ernie Hudson wouldn't want anybody else to sort of be outcasted or left out like he was. But if you had all three return in some fashion and you have Winston rising above, getting more screen time, being asked to do more, being asked to carry more of the script, the story, the emotional weight, all of those things, like really have a quality role for quality things for him to do in this next role. That says more when you have him like outshine Venkman or outshine
I agree.
Reyes
I
in the
agree.
next movie.
I changed my stance. You convinced me. No, seriously, that was a good point. Um, but I just want him to be the star. Um,
Absolutely.
I just want him to be the one center focus. I think it'll round it everything out really nice. Um, I mean, he's just such a I don't know. He's great for the fandom. He's a good guy.
He's the best. He's the best, and I wish I had another minute alone where I could tell him like, I know that you've never asked for anything in your position, and you've never gone to a studio, and he doesn't, right? He kind of
Mhm.
holds his tongue a lot, and it's because he's that kind of a person. But I would tell him like, it's okay now. You've been in this business for like almost 6 decades. Maybe
Mhm.
it's time you you knock on the studio's door and say like, I think you can get really far by putting me in this position, or I think if you put me in this place, we can do something big. Like how many people are going, how many actors are going to studios telling them what they want and what they're going to do? Ernie's never been that person, and I know he shouldn't be that person, but like, just do it
At some
one,
point, right?
just do it one time. Do it
With
once.
this franchise, he has all the rights.
He should.
Um, and it's a situation where it almost could be a fan based campaign too. Like this is an unsuccessful attempt, but one of the first attempts we really saw at this in our era was remember when they were the big push to get Donald Glover, Childish Gambino, to be
Yeah.
Spider Man.
Yeah. Miles. Yeah.
Yeah, so remember that grassroots
Yep.
campaign to make that happen?
Absolutely.
Marvel franchise is too big to listen to that sort of thing. I don't think the Ghostbusters execs are or that franchise is too big for a grassroots campaign to push something like this. If there was a Childish Gambino to Spider-Man campaign, but it's Ernie Hudson to take over the Ghostbusters franchise, I think it'd be listened to if the fans did what they should do. Even if as many people as backed the HasLab proton pack, if just that many people,
That would say something.
it would say something.
That's
And
a voice right there.
yeah, and that gives Ernie clout. So when he goes to do what you're talking about doing, he has equity. He has something to negotiate with. The fans want it. I want it. You want it. Let's make money.
Yep. Absolutely. And partially it's because he deserves it. He absolutely deserves it.
100.
The other part is because you want to maintain this force and maintain this energy that you got out of the last film. And you do that by sprinting, not jogging, not walking, sprinting with an OG character um, in the forefront, in the driver's seat. And that doesn't mean like he has to be your lead. You can still have a Paul Rudd. You can still have a McKenna Grace doing whatever they need to do. But if you build this next film, this next trilogy of films, and you have a center figure like a Nick Fury, like a Tony Stark, uh, and that's and that person is Ernie Hudson. It's Winston Zeddemore. You are building on top of a solid foundation that all fans can get behind. All fans. And it kind of doesn't matter what you do after that. Like I'm letting you know, Sony, Columbia, whoever else, Ghost Core, if you have an OG Ghostbuster at the helm, you have more freedom to do whatever you want with the rest of the story.
Yeah, and just consult Dan. All you gotta do is have Dan on board. Dan is the Ghostbusters. He created almost everything that it is.
Yeah,
Um, as long as you have Dan involved, that and let Winston be the star, but just have Dan as the consultant. He's sort of the George Lucas of the thing. Let him, you know,
absolutely.
consult on science and stuff. I just think I don't know that I want another Ghostbusters movie. I
No,
I like the idea of a series way more. Um, I think and it's just sort of the way that things are going as far as even if you were talking about making content like we're trying to do or anyone else, a schedule, repetitiveness, becoming part of someone's schedule is important.
sure.
And I think that having a series like the way I want the Mandalorian treatment um, on Ghostbusters, and I want it drawn out over time. I want to see them busting ghosts. I want to see them actually being Ghostbusters and not just here we show up in our suits. Some the movies were some of that, and I love the movies. Don't get me wrong, but it's
Yeah,
a lot of um, circumstance, but not a lot of ghost busting. And I'd love a series way more than a movie, and I think it'd be more lucrative all the way around. I don't know who Sony would have for their streaming partner, but again,
I think it's Netflix right now.
and some
Which
people
which
poo
which is
poo.
good or bad?
Some people poo poo on Netflix. It doesn't matter.
The good shows are great.
The good shows are great. If they don't make a good show, then it shouldn't get picked up. Netflix shouldn't fund it again. I don't know why this sort of. I mean, it's a pretty simple capitalistic idea. Either people watch it or people don't. And sure, Netflix has a little bit involved in their algorithm, I'm sure,
Sure.
but a Ghostbusters series is not going to go unnoticed. It's not going to be off the top 10 today. If they released a 10-part Ghostbusters series, I would like that more than a movie.
Absolutely. I would love a high quality, high production, well financed Ghostbusters series, or even mini series, limited series, whatever you want. Doesn't matter to me. But yeah, if it's high quality, well written, well funded, because we know there's a lot of special effects that goes into this. I mean, Mandalorian episodes cost what, 10, 15, 20 million each?
Yeah,
It's
and
small.
even they're below movie quality. Like you can tell the difference between Mandalorian special effects and a feature film,
It's
but
not
that's
far off.
okay.
You're right.
Yeah, but that's okay.
It's okay.
I don't think anyone care. I mean, literally, you think if you're a Ghostbuster fan out there and you're happy, like, look, I have this spirit pack,
Hmm.
no mods, completely stock. I'm thrilled with it. Um, I would be thrilled with a Netflix series too. Like, it, you don't have to have the nicest of nicest things to enjoy them.
No, you're
It's
right.
I think it would go over well. I think people would really enjoy it.
I think it would too, and it has to be. I think you can sort of play with the tone of it. It could be a little bit more serious. It could be a little darker. It could be more scary than what a normal Ghostbusters film would be. The language could be a little heavier. You can actually
Yeah,
kind
it
of
could be
get
a
into
lot of things, or
more. Yeah,
it could just be supernatural, but they show up in flight suits. I mean,
it,
it's like it doesn't matter if you have the no ghost patch on and you're sort of solving mysteries. I wouldn't hate one thing that I kind of liked about Supernatural. It's not one of my favorite shows ever. I haven't watched any season in full or anything, but I've
yeah,
seen a few episodes, and they kind of follow the Scooby Doo model, where it's like, you know, we figure out who we have suspicions of something weird going on, so we're going to go investigate. We get sort of bamboozled somewhere in the middle, and then afterwards we figure it out. I don't hate that model for Ghostbusters. I mean, it's just it doesn't have to be super serious.
no,
A mix between Supernatural and The Office with flight suits.
I can see that. I can see that. You're right.
You know,
Yeah, no, no, no. You're absolutely right about that. And then, like I was mentioning, when you think about it, we've had. If you think about the two original Ghostbuster films, and I guess you could think about this third one too. This third one in the timeline. There's not a whole lot of deaths. This last one, you finally had one. You finally had a what's it called? A murder or a victim to a ghost. We didn't have that in the first two. Not that I can recall.
not a murder, no. Well, I mean, other than the people who got smashed by the Stay Puft when he's walking, or I mean, there's
We
people
think
had to die
we
in the
think so,
Stay
yeah.
Puft scene, and people had to die in the Statue of Liberty scene. People
Oh,
had to die. I mean, that's
sorry, my
yeah.
fault.
Yeah, some people died during those, but that's it. And they weren't confirmed and they weren't on screen. But
Yeah,
it's
you're
just
right.
pretty obvious given the um, the scene, or even in the Ghostbusters Temple in the first one, those rocks are falling off the building from that high, dude. That wouldn't just land and like.
Yeah,
That would be an impact crater from that high.
absolutely,
like,
absolutely.
um, so
But
whatever. But
I could
so
see it
you're saying you want to
completely.
see it a little bit darker, like somebody dies.
A little bit more realism to it. You know, sometimes there's going to be collateral damage when you're fighting supernatural entities. Sometimes you don't always save the day. I think if you start, sometimes the stories call for that. I mean, how many Avengers have we lost in the MCU? Like, not everybody makes it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
as long as they and I could see that for sure. I just don't want them dealing so much with like crazy interdimensional beings. I kind of like it when they fought the Scaleri brothers or
oh, that was amazing.
Slimer. So it's like, these goofy ghosts who just like
I
they
love
don't
it.
know why we're there. They have this pent up aggression, and it doesn't always have to be the most dangerous thing ever. Um,
Eventually, you do. Eventually, you know, the
yeah,
finale, you have
yeah,
to be
for
dealing
sure.
with
But that's like
Sam
we start
Hain.
dealing with that like in a 10 series episode. We start dealing. There's always this idea of like psychic turbulence
Sure.
um, growing throughout the series, but you're only probably really dealing with the big bad 8 through 10.
You know what I appreciate about the original film, and that's another reason why this film is so great is that you can kind of see it differently every time you watch it or every time you think about it. What I really love about it is it's an Armageddon or end of a world type event,
Mm,
and these Ghostbusters they have no idea. I mean, you know, they're behind is what I'm trying to get at. They aren't being they're not starting the Ghostbusters to stop the end of the world. They're becoming Ghostbusters and just so happen to accidentally um stumble upon the end of the world. Like Gozer's already here. They never
mm,
stopped her from coming. And Gozer was steps had to be made in order for Gozer to come in the first place. So they were, and they didn't know. They didn't know Dana was going to get possessed. They didn't know what was wrong with Lewis at all.
mhm.
Um, they just knew that he wasn't really himself, but they didn't know that he was being possessed by a gatekeeping or a keymaster dimensional being. So I love that it's a story of unlikely heroes that just so happen to save the world, but they weren't setting out to do that in the first place, if that makes sense.
No, it does. And it's just one of those things about the first movie, and it's why they'll never be able to
You can't.
match it. It's like the
You can't.
second Afterlife was good. I like all of them. I mean, I
Did
do.
you?
It's just the reason why Ghostbusters 1 is so good is the exact reason that they'll never be able to figure out what they did. They don't know what they did.
No, they
Um,
really don't.
it was such a mixture of what the actors thought they were making a comedy, but because of the score and the editing of the film and the special effects, the comedy came off to me as very dry. It's a funny movie,
It's hilarious.
but the comedy takes a back seat to me to this random story that they came up with, and I started to believe these guys.
Yeah.
I started to be like, oh my gosh, they do have to do this. Obviously, whoever came up with the flight suits, the proton bag, the sounds that
Yeah.
they made. I mean, nobody knows why Ghostbusters 1 is good, and that's why they'll never be able to recreate that again. It's like that app I was telling you about before, when you press it and it builds an image, but it only does it once. You can never get the same one back. That's Ghostbusters 1.
It's exactly like that.
Yeah.
I mean, how crazy is that? You're right. We don't sit around and we're not thinking like, well, where do they come up with the design for the flight suits? Or like, who decided to make the Ecto look like that? Like, we're not sitting here worrying about those things. We just accept those things. Like, of course, this is what this team looks like. Of
Yeah.
course, this is the car that they drive. Um, of course, proton packs and ghost traps work this way, and we're none the wiser to figuring out how they built this technology or like where it comes from. We're just like, yeah, of course, we just accept
And
it and
how
we
they
run with
marketed themselves. I mean, the montage scene after the Sedgwick Hotel is got to be in film history one of the best montages of all time. I mean, it amplified the story in that short amount of time. It
it. Yeah,
allowed us to skip time really quickly, and I mean, it's just I don't know. It's one of the coolest things ever. It's literally it gives me chills. I still almost tear up when the mayor turns around and goes, "What do you need from me?" And of course, Venkman looks at him, and this is off camera. This has happened or whatever. Like Venkman eventually said to him, he wanted to make an entrance. So he wanted to come in legit. So he's got army, the National Guard has been
yeah.
activated, police sirens, the ecto is rolling, and it's like, and he gets out of the car, and you can tell that's what happened because he gets out of the car in straight salesman mode. Hello, New York! Boom! He's on. I wish they would have given Bill Murray more screen time on how he was marketing the Ghostbusters because that was his role, I believe, in the
You know,
Ghostbusters.
my favorite one of my favorite parts is actually right after that. He's out there like, "Hello, New York," blah blah blah, and then all the guys are getting the equipment, so he goes around to the guys behind the Ecto. He's
Hmm.
like, "All right, guys, let's be professional. Let's
Yeah.
let's stay level headed." Whatever else he
Let's be
said.
safe. Let's be professional.
Yeah, let's be safe. Let's be professional. Do you believe the rumor that Bill had no script in the first one?
No, I don't believe that at all. I don't know why people, and again, I do love Bill Murray, but he's not some sort of improv god. I, I
He's close.
don't, I don't know. I think that he very much sticks to the script. What he does is at the end, it's kind of Will Ferrell, Danny McBride, a lot of these guys improv a lot of their stuff, but you're
Yeah,
still following like what's going on. I mean,
the general
he,
outlines.
I think he threw in his punchlines to get authentic reactions. He was testing the actors around him. I think he does have that ability, but no, I don't think he just made up every funny line that he said. I think that there was definitely some writing in there.
Yeah, I could see that. Wouldn't it be impossible? Can you imagine like, and I'm not trying to switch out guys, but we know if I told you Robin Williams played Venkman, and if I told you, would you believe me if Robin Williams made up every single line? You would fucking believe it. You would believe that Robin Williams made up every single line in
Oh
that
my
role.
gosh! What an incredibly spooky ghost.
You would
First of all,
absolutely believe it
I
because
never
he's
want to imagine
capable.
Robin Williams as Peter
Now,
Venkman.
despite the fact that there are people who absolutely could do that.
Yeah. I think there's I think it's possible. The
Yeah,
idea that he sort of just improv his way front to end. No, 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 no. And it's just
I love
I don't believe it.
I love what this video became. Just us like diving into every corner of the franchise and stuff. You and I have a busy week, and
Yeah.
it already started busy by ending the Ernie event on Sunday, and um, Rob and I, I wish either him or Brian were here, but they need sleep and they got a lot of things to do this week. So I want to talk about what we're doing this week, and I want you to talk about what we're doing this week. I'm going to start out with what we launched today with the help of the official Ghostbusters social media account. So today, December 14th, we actually launched our toy drive. And I know that's not crazy big, but we launched our local toy drive, and we're asking residents of San Antonio, surrounding areas, help us bring joy and spread some positivity to families who need it this holiday season by donating or dropping off coloring books, toys, all unwrapped to the Dragon's Lair Comics and Fantasy Comic Shop. It's the Alamo Ranch location, the only location that's we're working with, just because they're such great people. They've always been very courteous and generous, and them opening their doors so that we could do this last minute is as a another example of that. This toy drive is not something we're doing alone. Like I mentioned, the official Ghostbusters social media account has declared December 14th as the launch of a massive national campaign, international campaign, because other countries are doing it too. The Ghostbusters of San Antonio and other chapters like them across the country are all holding similar events. We were on site today meeting with customers and fans of Ghostbusters and telling them about what we were doing. And they would go next door to a store, they would purchase an item, and they bring it back and donate it. And, we weren't begging them, we weren't telling them, trying to sell them on this concept of helping out. They were just doing it because it was maybe just the right thing to do. And so it was moving. It was absolutely moving. Seeing families just come right back into the store saying, "We got one. We got one." Um, yeah. So we're actually up in the ante a little bit. When you donate an item, take a selfie, post it on the event page or on the Ghostbusters of San Antonio page, and that's going to enter you in a drawing to win an AMC Ghostbusters Afterlife Ecto One popcorn bucket. Yes, you can put food in it. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But it's a rare item. It's not easy to find. It's especially not easy to find for free. So, yeah, one lucky family is going to walk away with an Ecto One, and you're doing a good deed. So we might come back. We might go back to Dragon's Lair and meet some more fans, meet some more customers, meet some more Ghostbuster fans, and that would be exciting to do again. But you got until December 21st. When December 21st hits, we're going to pick up all the donations and we're going to take them to the Jefferson Church event on Christmas Day, where they will be distributed to families in need. So please, 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 if you're if you got time, if you want to help out, drop off an item, donate it to the Dragon's Lair Comics and Fantasy location, the Alamo Ranch location, and yeah, that would be tremendous. And you might win a Ghostbuster Afterlife Ecto One popcorn bucket. Um, the New York City Ghostbusters invited us to their massive live streams, 3 hours long, chapters from all over the country and other countries. And we had a great discussion with them. If you want to check that out, head on over to the Countdown to the Geekcast Facebook page and scroll down to the video. We show up around the 2 hour mark. And it was me, Rob, and Kevin um, talking about the events we're doing. And we got more stuff going on. Matt, take it away, sir. What else do we got going on this week and whatever else is coming up?
Well, luckily, Rob, the I guess leader of the San Antonio Ghostbusters, just posted that Friday, December 17th, the Ghostbusters will be at the event you were just speaking about, the toy drive. Same location, same everything, but it looks like Friday, December 17th, the Ghostbusters will, the Ghostbusters will be there to take a picture with you guys. And then Saturday, we have the 5K, 1K, the Snowball 5K, 1K. We're going to be out there. Basically, just cheering on the runners, letting them go. I'm not running in a proton pack. I know Ted had mentioned getting some short shorts and running out there. I don't believe it. If he does, I'll do $50 for every 4 steps. Um, so let's get those numbers up there wild. But that'll be fun. So definitely come out there.
Yeah,
And
that's
then,
Morgan's Wonderland.
yeah, that's Morgan's Wonderland. I'm not sure do you know the exact location of that?
Yeah, well, Morgan's Wonderland is a theme park for kids with special needs, and
Cool.
it's a accessible theme park, the first of its kind, maybe the world, but definitely the first of its kind in the U.S. So it's more than likely raising funds for that park. People fly from all over the country, all over the world, because it is literally the first of its kind, a theme park where kids with disabilities or limitations can enjoy theme park rides and activities that they wouldn't get in most
Yeah.
other cities or most other states.
And they have
So
I think some folks from the Special Olympics might be running in this as well.
absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that there'll be plenty of things to do.
Yeah, look it up. I know it's on the northeast side of town, close to Wurzbach Parkway. I'll see if I can get the exact address real
Yeah,
quick.
we could just put links in the video.
There you go.
Um, and then so later that afternoon, we're going to be at Retro City for an '80s event, another toy drive. There's rumors. I'm not sure, but there's might be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and a turtle van there.
Bum,
Um,
bum, bum.
Along with the Ghostbusters. That's a crossover that happened in the comics. It's two fandoms that get along very well.
Sure.
So definitely try to make your way out to Retro City in the afternoon for that. So I think that's all we have for the weekend.
Yes, and there's a Rob is doing a parade on the 15th.
The
Um,
man has a parade himself. I mean, it's like everywhere he goes, it's a parade.
absolutely, absolutely. I'll see if I'll post it on our Facebook page or go to the Ghostbusters of SATX Facebook page. But there is a parade on the 15th that he's participating in, and yeah,
Yeah,
lots of
we'll just post all
stuff.
the links on the video. If anybody wants to come out, it's a good time. If you have anything khaki, even if you have a khaki long sleeve shirt and khaki pants, come out there. Go run to the mall, go to Spencer's, get a No Ghost logo, throw that on the side, and come out and let's do the damn thing.
Absolutely, absolutely, definitely. Or yeah, baby blue Egon Spangler animated series flight suit. Go for it.
Yeah, show us what you got.
Absolutely. Um, what's great is that maybe a month ago, I'm not trying to sell you guys short or anything, but ve I just wanna say that, like, a month ago before the movie released,
Mhm.
I knew of the Ghostbusters of San Antonio, and I'd already talked to Rob saying like, "Hey, man, movie's coming out, let's join forces, let's do something," and, between that time and now, feels like thousands of people have either seen us or heard of us now, like,
Yeah,
this group in a very short amount of time, and it's just, we're not trying to do too much, I think we're just kind of in the right places at the right times, and people are opening their doors, and people are getting excited with us, and, I'm getting messages on Facebook, people are sending me their photos with Ernie, and it's just like, it's freaking cool, man.
it's a good
People
time
are
to be a Ghostbuster. That's for damn.
people are stoked, and I'm excited for this group because there's we're riding a very powerful, strong wave right now, and
I agree.
it'll be cool to see, where it'll take us. But now the New York Ghostbusters are like, they actually said, we've never met anybody from the San Antonio chapter, but you guys are doing a lot. The comments on the stream were like, somebody put in the comments on the live stream, the big one today, said that San Antonio is getting taken care of. They're getting taken care of by the Ghostbusters of
Yeah,
SATX.
that's
I'm
awesome.
like, that's freaking cool, man.
Yeah,
That's
that's what
freaking
it's all
cool.
about. And I'm excited for
Cool.
this weekend. I'm excited to get out there. I'm just gonna unhook the suit, put it back on again, not washing it because I have Ernie Hudson handprints on there.
Yep.
But I'm excited to get it going. So you guys make sure you tune in and just check the link below. We'll definitely throw it up there just so you guys can come out and see us, know what times and all exact locations instead of our memory. So um, that'd be awesome. But come out and bring the kids. If your kid likes Ghostbusters, if you don't like Ghostbusters, well, first of all, I don't like you. But if you do, if your kids like the Ghostbusters, bring them out. Bring them
Bring
out.
them out.
Bring
Bring
them
them out.
out.
Bring
And
them out.
we make them feel so warm and welcome. Even if they just have a Ghostbusters T-shirt on, they'll be a part of the team if they come take a picture with us.
Absolutely. Be sure to follow the Countdown to the Geekcast. Set those notifications so you can find out where these events are happening.
I do. I just got my
Please, please,
badge. I just
please.
got my badge.
Awesome.
I got
Awesome.
my top rated fan badge. It's like a little
Yeah.
diamond in the. So you got to collect jewels out here. All right,
Awesome.
guys, go get your top
Awesome.
fan badge.
Of course. That's freaking cool, man.
Yeah,
And please, please, please follow the SATX Ghostbusters Facebook page so you can find out where these events are at. You can find out where the next charity events are at, what these guys are doing, and just celebrate this franchise right now, because right now is the right time. It is a very good time to be a fan of the Ghostbusters.
that's great. I appreciate you, Ted.
I appreciate you, sir. That'll do it for this stream. Once again, be sure to follow, like, share, subscribe, spread the word about the toy drive, get in the running for that Ecto 1 popcorn bucket, and plenty of more things to come. I know Rob is holding on to some giveaways that they're going to be saving for some special occasions. So be sure to follow both the Geekcast as well as the Ghostbusters of San Antonio, because great things are coming. And this is a really cool, great group of guys. Yeah, definitely. Matt, thanks for being on the this video with me, man. And you and I will be seeing each other pretty soon.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Have a good night, folks. And busting still makes me feel good.
Down, down, down.